Title: Husband discovers wife's infidelity on girls' trip. Hi everybody! I'm leading a goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I truly believe we can achieve it together. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it would really mean a lot to me. Now, let's dive into the story. Inspired by your recent post about an ex-wife being caught on a girls' trip, I decided to share my own experience and became a subscriber. I divorced my ex-wife because I foolishly agreed to let her go on a trip with her single friends. She kept insisting, even shedding tears, and played the role of a hurt spouse brilliantly, convincing me that my lack of trust was unfounded. Her performance still echoes in my mind to this day. Ultimately, she cheated during that trip. We were married for nearly a decade, both 28 when we split. I married her when I was 18, believing it was the right thing to do since we were both virgins waiting until marriage to be intimate. I loved her deeply and chose her every day, willing to do anything for her. We attended church regularly and grew up in the same community. Both our families still go to the same church. Now, at 33, I can genuinely say I will never marry again. After my divorce 5 years ago, I essentially embraced a monk-like lifestyle, abstaining from any romantic involvement until last year. While I have friends, they all know I have no interest in ever marrying again. I have no children, and I'm okay with that. My ex-wife Liz and I were each other's firsts, and I was content with that. She often reassured me that she felt the same way. I never had issues with her hanging out with friends locally or celebrating birthdays, but when her friends, who also married young, began divorcing and leaving the church, I grew concerned. The idea of her hanging out with them no longer sat well with me, but I tried to be okay with it. The idea of traveling with them, however, only came up when we were 27. Liz's friend group consisted of 5 other women, making 6 in total. 3 of them were now single mothers, each having left their husbands for various reasons. One felt her husband was too boring, another divorced her spouse after finding him watching adult content, and yet another left her husband after he lost his job. The reasons were trivial and didn't sit right with me. Liz assured me that she would never consider divorcing me. None of these women drank, so I was shocked when I later found out that they were intoxicated on their trip to Florida. Liz and I wanted to have children, but we agreed to wait until we were financially stable. Everything seemed on track, and I trusted Liz deeply, thinking our marriage was different and stronger. I even convinced myself that she could spend time with these single friends without it affecting our marriage. So when Liz mentioned the trip, I was initially against it. She insisted it was something they'd been planning for years and expressed her excitement about going. I expressed my discomfort with her traveling without me, especially for 4 days straight, but eventually, I gave in. I should have trusted my gut feeling, which had been warning me the entire time. Liz left on a Saturday, and even though I tried to remain calm, I was a mess inside. I wanted to trust her, but something just didn't feel right. She promised to call often, and while she did keep in touch initially, there were gaps and moments of silence that fueled my paranoia. Every time we spoke, my doubts only grew. Finally, I decided to fly to Florida unannounced, using the address she had shown me earlier. When I arrived, I saw girls passed out, some in the pool with men, and others in the bedrooms. I knew instantly that something was wrong. I entered a room to find my wife on top of a man I had never seen before. She began crying and begging for forgiveness, but I knew our marriage was over. I left immediately, ignoring her calls and texts, knowing that I needed to get a lawyer and move forward with a divorce. Back home, Liz tried desperately to reconcile, involving her parents and even our pastor, but I stood firm. Our divorce was relatively smooth, taking about 5 months. Even now we avoid each other at church. Some of her friends have since apologized, admitting that the group dynamic was toxic. I learned that vetting a partner's friends is crucial. Their influence can be significant, often in destructive ways. I don't regret divorcing Liz. I realized that staying single might be the best path for me, as I have no desire to remarry. Her betrayal was devastating, but I made the right decision by not staying in a relationship where trust had been broken beyond repair. Everyone should consider the impact of their partner's circle of friends and the potential for negative influences. My story is a reminder that trust, once broken, is often impossible to rebuild. And that's the end of this video, everyone. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content. Turn on notifications to stay updated on my latest posts. See you next time.